Hi, my name is Emily Wilson. I'm here with RSAC-TV, and I'm here to talk to you today about some of my favorite bloopers from the dark web. So I'm Director of Analysis at Terbium Labs. We're a Baltimore-based dark web data company, and that means I get to hang out on the weird parts of the internet all day and bring you my best stories. So I'm going to warn you in advance, this talk is going to be just a little bit cheesy. OK, so where do we get started here? The dark web is just like any other part of the internet. And really, that's the most important thing I can tell you. If you think it's some sort of criminal underground, that's true. But these are people that you find on Twitter and on Reddit. It's just like the rest of the internet. And by that, I mean there are cats. This is Tor Kittens. It's a real site, one of my favorite dark web sites. It is literally a slideshow of cat pictures. What more could you ask for? So let's take a step back here. What is the dark web? So at Terbium, we take a fairly permissive view of what the dark web encompasses. We think of the dark web as any place someone wouldn't want to see their sensitive information appear, right? So this is sites that sell stolen data, who trade in it, who talk about tradecraft and vandalizing things. You know, the dark web is any place that you don't want to see your information appear. And in order to accomplish that, in order to let our clients know when information shows up, we have a massive dark web crawler that's out kind of scanning all these nasty parts of the internet and bringing back data. It's my job to make sure that data is good, and that means I have some weird stuff to share with you. So let's start here. Don't trust what you see. The dark web is fake, and it is weird. And I have two stories to prove that. One, Besa Mafia. So there's this ongoing myth that you can hire a hitman on the dark web. You go online, you give someone some Bitcoin, and they'll take out your neighbor, or your boss, or your brother-in-law. And Besa Mafia is one of the best-known places to do this. So Besa Mafia claim to be Albanian mobsters, good choice, and they said that they will kind of do anything you need, right? If you want to kill somebody, if you want to beat them up, we're your guys. We have operations in US, in Canada, in Europe, and obviously in Albania. And so Besa Mafia kind of existed as this beacon of continuing this myth. And a couple of things to note here that you'll also see later. The dark web is really well organized. They have an FAQ page. So you can go in, you can see what kind of questions people are asking. You fill out a very nice contact form. You pick your price point. And they take care of it for you. Except they don't. Turns out Besa Mafia isn't real. There were never any hitmen. It was all a giant scam. And the way it worked was this. If you gave them your information, said, take out my neighbor, OK, they will ask you for a down payment up front. And if you pay that, great. They take your money. Nothing happens. If you don't pay it, though, they let law enforcement know that you were trying to kill somebody. A little bit awkward. So they took down their site, and now it says this, basically. After 6 months of taking all of your money, thank you. We are closed for business. By the way, we never killed anybody. Awkward. My other favorite one is this, grenade launchers. I get asked about weapons a lot. People are concerned about dark web weapons, and they definitely do exist. But keep in mind when you're shopping for these, one, they're hard to ship, but two, you have a few different options here. You can get something new, or if you're not quite as picky, you can get something used. And they thoughtfully include 3 grenades with your order. Nice. All right. This one's one of my actual favorites. Yesterday was Valentine's Day, right? If you're still looking for a last-minute gift, maybe a parrot? No, really. You can buy parrots on the dark web. This listing went up right before Christmas. Someone offering a pair of well-trained African parrots. They come with a cage and all their toys, just so you can make sure you take care of them. And they offer Skype sessions and video calls to show proof of life and well-being. So far, none of them have sold. Sad. All right, a few more stories of my favorite in no particular order. Someone looking for Hamilton tickets. You really can't get everything on the dark web. A food photography guide in case you want to up your Instagram game. $3, kind of a bargain. And dark web radio, in case you need a little bit more jazz flute in your life, or there's a Baroque station, or heavy metal if that's more your speed. OK, one more story. When you hear that something conjures up the flavors of coffee and cigar and lime, what do you think of? Cuba, maybe a nice trip to somewhere warm, a good beer or a nice bottle of wine? No. Meth. Yes, meth. So apparently, you can tell what kind of battery acid was used to cook your batch of meth because each of the major battery brands have a very distinctive flavor. As a reminder, showing you meth lab photos is my job. This is pretty great. OK, back to being serious. The dark web is funny and fake and weird and full of parrots, but it's also very fraudulent. So what do we need to know? What does fraud look like on the dark web? Depends on what kind of fraud you're looking for. There's financial information. You can certainly get your hands on credit cards. There's customer data for sale or posted for vandalism. You can get counterfeit pharmaceuticals in case you want some sort of, steroid that's been approved in Russia but not in the US. And then corporate doxing, right? This is by the way, here is all the personal information on your CEO, their partner, their children, their third cousin twice removed who lives in Iowa. People are pretty thorough. The other thing to know to take away from this is that the dark web economy is incredibly robust, streamlined, and organized. So this is all very, very easy to do. Look at this. This is a screenshot from Alphabay, which is one of the most prolific dark web markets that's still up, right? And if you look at this, you'll see that it's actually not that different from Amazon. You can contact your seller, you can favorite a listing, you can have them alert you when the item restocks. You can choose from categories and subcategories. You can go through about 20 different filters. I want someone who's based in Ireland and ships to Australia. I want someone who can give me something in this price point that contains this keyword. You have, vendor trust levels, right? Reputation is huge on the dark web. How do you build a business when you can't tell anyone who you are? You get good reviews, and you offer freebies, and you do sales and marketing. Black Friday sales are big for card vendors on the dark web. All right, so this is RSA. We need takeaways. I have them for you. What does this actually mean? 3 things. Know that not everything you hear about the dark web is true. Some of it is, some of it isn't. Take everything with a grain of salt. There's this idea that we need to sensationalize the dark web. We need to make it out to be scary and enigmatic and this shadowy underground place that you can't understand. That's not true. That is simply not true. It is a thing we can know, we can see it, we can measure it, and we can report on it. This is a thing we can understand. Don't be frightened of it. 2, know what kind of threats face your industry and how those threats manifest and how they change. If you are in healthcare, you're going to be facing something a little bit different than someone who's in finance or manufacturing or tech. And even those things can change. One of the most prolific healthcare hackers from last year recently announced that he's bored and he's shifting over to government contractors. Keep an eye on that. And finally, know what kind of sensitive data is most valuable to you and to your customers. What is the thing you don't want to get a phone call about in the middle of the night? What is a no good, very bad day for you? What is that? Know what that is and know what you're doing about it. Not the kind of thing you want to be surprised by. OK, so now what? We at Terbium operate under the assumption that your sensitive data at some point in some way will be exposed, whether by you or by a third party. You can have the most robust security framework possible, and I'm sure you do. You care about your customer data. You care about your internal data. You care about your IP. But something's going to happen. At some point, something is going to happen, whether it's opportunistic, maybe it's targeted, maybe somebody leaves a laptop in a car, or maybe one of your partners gets breached. It's not your breach. It's still kind of your problem. So proactively monitor for your data. You want to be able to know the moment it happens and not 200 days later, which is the average, when a reporter calls you and says, would you like to comment on that awkward moment where all of your customer information is no? No? OK. 2, know what's happened so far. Know where you're coming from. Know which of your partners have had issues. Something I'm sure Verizon wished they'd known earlier. There are tools. You can retroactively search for data that may have been previously compromised. Maybe it's an employee who was targeted once before that you never knew about. Maybe it's your customers. Maybe it's your CEO. Know where you're coming from, get a baseline, and then move forward. If you take away nothing else from this, know this. The dark web exists, and it is weird, but it is full of stolen information, and some of it may be yours. You can do something about this. You can know that it's happening. All you have to do is look. One more cat for good measure. My name is Emily Wilson. I am the Director of Analysis at Terbium Labs. Thank you very much.